All right, let's move on to the muscles of the arm, or muscles that are acting on the arm. Here's our arm model. And here's some things to remember. Maybe it'll make it easier learning the muscle actions. This arm is kind of slightly bent a little bit. But let me go ahead and use this model right here. So there's the anterior muscles right here. Always refer back to anatomical position. If you look at the arm, all the muscles that are going to be in the anterior portion of the arm, they're going to flex. They're all using flexion. The ones on the posterior side of the arm, they're all going to extend a body part. That may help you. So a lot of these anterior muscles, even like the abdominal muscles, they're going to flex. Or they're going to perform a flexing function. Same thing with the arm. All these will flex a body part. The ones on the posterior portion will extend a body part, the structure on the arm. So, first we want to talk about is the coracobrachialis. There is no number on this muscle. It's kind of an odd one because you don't really see much of it, but this is it. It's a little larger if you look in visible body and kind of peel layers away. You have to remember that muscles are always going to be layered, they're three-dimensional structures. But this is the coracobrachialis. That's the coracoid process right there of the scapula. So coracobrachialis. And what it's involved in, or what its action is, it adducts and flexes the humerus. It's kind of more of a medial muscle, so if you want to just put adducts the humerus, that's fine. It also flexes the humerus as well. You've got your deltoid. The deltoid's a fairly obvious muscle. It's large, right here in the shoulder, right there. This is all deltoid. It's all deltoid. What it's involved in, basically what it does, it adducts the arm. Keep in mind when I say the arm, I'm referring to this portion right here. This would be forearm down here below. If you were to raise your arm, off to your side laterally, raising your arm that way, that would be abducting the humerus. I didn't mean to say add, but abducts. It abducts the humerus. Always think if someone abducts your child, they take it away. But it can also flex the arm, especially the anterior fibers will be used for that. And the lateral fibers back here can extend the arm. So it adducts, it can flex, and it can extend the arm. Latissimus dorsi, this is a fairly large muscle. You'll probably see it better on this model right here. A lot of guys will call these lats, but all this would be latissimus dorsi. Same thing right there. That's latissimus dorsi. It's a large muscle. What it does, it immediately rotates, it adducts, and extends the humerus. So it immediately rotates the humerus, it can adduct the humerus, it can also extend the humerus. Like if you were rowing a boat or rowing a canoe, for example, that's the muscle primarily used. Pectoralis major, that's an easy one. A lot of you probably already know what that is. People call it the pecs. That's pectoralis major. And what it does, it adducts and flexes the arm. It can also rotate the arm medially, but it adducts and flexes the arm. When a lot of people do bench presses, they're pushing out. What you're actually doing, you're adducting the humerus. The teres major. This muscle here. All right. Here's the deltoid. This is the posterior portion right here. This is the teres major. Here you can see part of the trapezius muscle right here. Again, that's deltoid. This is the posterior part. This would be this attached to the scapula. There's the spine of the scapula right here. So this would be the teres major. What it does, it extends, it adducts, and it immediately rotates the humerus. And if I were to pull the deltoid muscle off, you would see the teres minor right here. That's the teres minor. So what the teres minor does, it laterally rotates the humerus. It also helps stabilize your shoulder joint. So teres major, teres minor. All this right here, you gotta keep in mind, this is the spine of the scapula. Some of you may remember the infraspinous fossa, supraspinous fossa, and subscapularis. But all this right here would be infraspinatus. What it does, it laterally rotates the arm and helps stabilize the shoulder joint. All this is infraspinatus, which is inferior to the spine. You have the subscapularis. If I turn this underneath, all this is subscapularis. So what it does, it immediately rotates the head of the humerus. So it's subscapularis. Supraspinatus. If you look superior to the spine, again, this is the spine of the scapula, this muscle right here. That's the supraspinatus. What it does, it abducts the arm or the humerus, and also helps stabilize the shoulder joint. You know, you may hear the rotator cuff muscles. The rotator cuff muscles, it's just not one particular muscle. It's a group of four. It's made of the infraspinatus, the supraspinatus, the subscapularis, and the teres minor. Those four muscles comprise the rotator cuff muscles. Now, let's move to the forearm, which is right here. Now, always use your thumb as a reference. That should help. Again, this is going to be the lateral side. If we look up this part right here, I'm sorry if I said forearm, I meant these muscles will act on the forearm, but they're located in the arm right here. This is your biceps brachii. All this. And what that muscle does, it flexes the forearm. Or if you want to say flexes the elbow, because that's the joint that's producing the movement. But when that muscle contracts, it's going to move the forearm. So it flexes the forearm. You have the brachialis, which is right underneath that. And it's actually a lot larger muscle. If we were to pull the biceps brachii away, you'd see a lot more of the brachialis. And what the brachialis does, just like the biceps brachii, it's going to flex the elbow or flex the forearm. Now you have the triceps brachii, where this came off. That's that horseshoe-shaped muscle back here. That's your triceps brachii. That's the back of the arm. That's the posterior part of the arm. When that muscle contracts, it's going to extend the elbow or extend the forearm. Again, if I say extend the elbow, I'm meaning what action is produced at the joint. But it's going to actually extend your forearm. It doesn't extend the arm, it extends the forearm. Or you can say extends the elbow. That's triceps brachii. So triceps brachii, brachialis, biceps brachii. Now we move on to the forearm. And these are going to act on the wrist and the fingers. So if I'm looking at the anterior portion of the forearm, all right, I'm trying to turn this work backwards with the camera. All right, in this model, the arm is slightly turned. And so what I have here is, I've got I use the brachioradialis right here as a reference, as a general reference. And so what the brachioradialis is going to do, it's going to flex the elbow. So there's brachioradialis that actually attaches up here. So it's involved in flexing the elbow. That's brachioradialis. It's a fairly large muscle. So use that as a reference. Now I have my palmaris longus. Here's the palm. So look at the palm right here, and if I follow this tendon up right here, that's my palmaris longus. Where's my pointer? I guess I won't need to use my pen. The palmaris longus. And the function of the palmaris longus, basically it's a weak hand flexor. It flexes the hand. It also tenses the skin and fascia of the palm during hand movements. But it's a weak hand flexor. This muscle right here, that's going to be your flexor carpi, and that's by the radius. So that's going to be your flexor carpi radialis. So you got to keep in mind your thumb. Remember, the radius is by the thumb. It's the lateral bone. So it's a flexor. Flexor carpi, there's the wrist, carpals, and it's on the side of the radius. So flexor carpi radialis. And what the flexor carpi radialis is, it's a real powerful hand flexor. It also abducts the hand, but that's a powerful hand flexor. There's palmaris longus, flexor carpi radialis. Now I have my flexor carpi ulnaris. This is still the anterior part of the arm, but I got to turn it slightly. This is my flexor carpi, and it's by the ulna. Flexor carpi ulnaris. This hand is slightly turned. So flexor carpi ulnaris. That's also a powerful hand flexor. And it adducts the hand. So it can also be used in abducting the hand. But the flexor carpi radialis, it flexes the hand, but could also abduct the hand. Remember, abduct is away from the midline, adduct is toward. You have your pronator teres, which is this muscle right here. It's pronator teres. And you can look which way the muscle fibers run and pretty much figure out what the function is. It pronates and flexes your forearm. So it pronates and flexes the forearm. If you just put pronates forearm, that's fine. That'll suffice. Pronator teres. Now you've got the flexor digitorum superficialis. All right, let's get a better view. Look at all these tendons right here to digits 2 through 5. So there's digit number 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 would be the thumb. This is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you look at these digits and follow these tendons up, they would all attach to this muscle underneath these muscles here. So you can kind of look underneath all these tendons right here, you'll see a muscle. Here, under here. If I take this off, you'll see a lot more of it. All this right here, this number 24, all this muscle that you see here, here, and here, that's going to be your flexor digitorum superficialis. If you all that down, you know exactly what the function is. It's going to flex digits 2 through 4. 2, 3, 4, I'm sorry, I did it again. 2 through 5. There's only 4 digits it's working on. So it's going to flex digits 2 through 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, follow that muscle down to all these tendons. That's your flexor digitorum superficialis. Now, if we look at the forearm muscles that are going to be on the posterior side, we'll start with this one right here. Now, don't confuse the flexor carpi ulnaris We're looking at this one right here. Here's the pinky, or digit 5. So if you fall that down, remember these are all going to extend. So this is going to be your extensor carpi ulnaris. Because remember, that side is going to be associated with the ulna. So that's your extensor carpi ulnaris. This muscle here, it's basically the same muscle right here. Now if you follow that down, again, look at the tendons. That's going to be your extensor digitorum. Now it's not a superficialis, it's just simply extensor digitorum. So this muscle right here, and again, look at all the tendons. There's digit 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's going to extend digits 2 through 5. I did it again. I mentioned, let me fix this. It's only flexing 4 of the 5 digits, but it's going to flex digits 2 through 5. Digit 2, digit 3, digit 4, digit 5. Follow those tendons up. That's going to be extensor digitorum right here. That's the main one right there. Now the other two, you're going to have your extensor. Let's see if I can get a better position. You've got your extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis. Brevis means short. Longus means long. Now, this is going to be your brachioradialis right here, but look at these two muscles right here. Now, I always remember it this way. The one with the longer tendon is your extensor carpi radialis longus. I always think long tendon. And your extensor carpi radialis brevis is the shorter muscle. But they're both extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis. And basically what those muscles do, both of them, they're going to extend and abduct the wrist. So they're both going to extend and abduct the wrist. Remember, all these muscles on the posterior side, they're going to extend. Digits or the wrist. The ones in the front are going to extend, they're going to flex. They're going to flex the digits or wrist or hand. So all your flexors are going to be anterior, all your extensors are going to be posterior. And the last one we're going to talk about on the arm would be the pollicis muscles. And some of you may recall what pollex refers to. Pollex refers to the thumb. Make sure I got everything that I want to cover. All right. So, turn it this way. All right. The adductor pollicis brevis. Let's see, right here. This muscle that runs right here. Here's my pointer. This muscle right here. That's going to be your abductor pollicis brevis. So what do you think that function is going to be? It's going to abduct the thumb. So that's your abductor pollicis brevis. It's going to abduct the thumb. Abductor pollicis brevis. Remember, you're always referring back to anatomical position when you think of these movements. Now your flexor pollicis brevis would be this muscle right here, right there. This can be your flexor pollicis brevis. And that's going to flex your thumb. Then your adductor pollicis brevis or actually it's just, it's just adductor pollicis. Your adductor pollicis would be right here. So these are adductor pollicis. This is going to be your this is going to be your abductor pollicis brevis. This one right here. So it's the abductor. That's going to be your flexor. This is your adductor. You know, when you think of thumb movements, if I go back to anatomic position, you know, this is going to be adduction right here when I do this. When I squeeze my thumb like that, and I can feel that muscle right in that meaty part of my thumb when I do that. That's the adductor pollicis. Flexor pollicis brevis is going to do this. That's flexing your thumb. And I can feel that in that kind of meaty part of my thumb right here. That's going to be flexing the thumb. Now your abductor pollicis brevis is going to do this. That part. So here I'm adducting, here I'm abducting. And that's that muscle right here underneath. So when that muscle contracts, it's pulling my thumb away like that. That's abduction. That's flexion. This is adduction when I squeeze like that. And I believe that is all the muscles of the arm and their movements.